he is going to receive so much mud that by the time he's leaving, that legacy he's talking about will be very blood. People will be like, what are you talking
Before
about?
I get to Owila, let me ask you this again, because let's put Ruto in Jubilee 1 and Ruto in Jubilee 2.
Yes.
And Jubilee 1, like you've both said, they seem to have been working very together. And the deputy president was seen to support the president, and they're working well together.
Yes.
And Jubilee 2 is when the politicking started, because like you say, the deputy president knows what it takes to,
in fact, we agreed
to do a presidential campaign.
So the deputy president knew that in the second term, lazima nianze kujipanga.
So would you blame anyone who feels the deputy president was not very supportive?
That is why I am saying it is wrong for the president to come and say my deputy was not supportive, unless he can be able to point that as my principal assistant, on a number of occasions, I gave him assignments that he refused to do. I sent him here, I sent him to Kisumu, he refused. I sent him to do this, he refused. That is when, but otherwise, your assistant, who, when you shut him out, as he has shut him out quite a number of times, he has shut him out of State House meetings, he has shut him out of these other places. So what is he supposed to do? To sit there and wait and say, hallelujah, you promised 10 years, give it to me? I think that the deputy president used his head. Remember, the deputy president has been with Raila. He was supporting President Uhuru when Uhuru first ran for president. He has been under the tutelage of Moi. He knows these tricks. He knows money plays a lot in the Kenyan politics. So he did not sleep. Okay. He went for it and collected it like the sand in Mombasa. Then he also knows that you politic every corner. Honorable Raila has done it. He did it with Mwai Kibaki. He pushed Mwai Kibaki to the presidency. Exactly 4 years, he was removing it. Okay. How did he do it? Politicking daily. Even in the village, those who want seats, they don't sit and wait when it is 3 months, then they say, they have been politicking ever since.
Fair enough.
Blaming him, I really, no, that was not.
Just picking up from that, and Owila would want you to come in on this. Weda says that the president is not being entirely honest, and some would also ask, is the president being honest when he says that this entire second term he's not been politicking himself? Look at the BBI, look at the meetings, several meetings with political leaders as they perhaps are seen to be forming a formidable coalition. Is he entirely honest when he puts the blame of politicking on his deputy?
Well, I don't think it's a question of whether the president is honest or not honest, because Kenyans are not naive. And I think the deputy,
is he though?
Even the president is not naive, because from what I say it, and this is in the public domain, the president has never mentioned anyone's name. So the fact that the president talks about people who've been politicking, and the deputy president and his people come out reacting, basically tells you that it is in the public domain, that when the president says people have been politicking, the public already understands that the people who've been politicking are basically the people who came up with Tanga Tanga. They morphed into a political party called
Led by who?
Led by the deputy president. And now they have a coalition called Kenya Kwanza. And you see, this idea of, I made someone a prime minister, I made someone a president, it is the politics that Weda is talking about. No one made anyone. People are looking for their own political position. And I think after that, you look for another position. And credit to the deputy president that once they won power for the second term, he decided that because I don't know what the eventuality is going to be, let me start early and campaign. Where that will put him will only be dependent on the outcome of the August 9th general election. But to say that he was not given any assignment, to say that he was not politicking is just to deceive ourselves. We see politics when politics happens. No one can tell us that this was politicking, this is not politicking. What the president is simply doing is reminding us of what we've been saying. And look at it this way. When you go back to the issue of Tano Yangu, Tano Yako, in 2013, Kumi Yangu, Kumi Yako. In 2013, they both started the journey, and Uhuru took 10 as the president. The deputy president took 10 as the deputy president. So the whole issue of Kumi Yako, Kumi Yangu can be interpreted in so many ways. They've served for 10 years.
Could it really?
Yes.
No.
The president has done 10. The deputy president has done 10. And let me tell you, the issue here is not even a question of whether the deputy president was working or not. The issue can be traced back to 2018. Early in 2018, when all the chief lieutenants of the deputy president, his key men, the ones who left ODM with him, went to URP and they formed Jubilee. The moment they were sworn in, they made it clear that our focus right now is to make the deputy president the president. Now, this country is a multi-party democracy. The party that wins power to form government wins power on the basis of a meaningful manifesto that convinces Kenyans to give them the power. So when the principal assistant to the to the president and the key leaders who went all over the country convincing Kenyans that by giving Jubilee the second term, this is what will deliver, abdicate their responsibility. What is the president supposed to do? The president had a mandate to deliver on Kenyans. He had no reason to quarrel with them. He mentioned enough times that there is time for politics, but this is time for development. If they didn't listen, what was the president meant to do? Find a way of delivering for Kenyans. And I think today what we need to ask ourselves...
By sidelining his deputy?
You see, you can look at it in terms of sidelining if you're a deputy president apologist. But you can also look at it from a very pragmatic point of view. At what point was he sidelined? Nowhere. But do we see him go around the country? And you see, let me tell you, the most interesting thing is he was not even going to Nyanza, Western, or wherever. He was actually going to Mount Kenya region. And I can tell you that what he did in Mount Kenya is going to be an uphill task for anyone to undo, because he got the entire Mount Kenya region behind him. Today, if you talk about Mount Kenya, I think the person who has the head start is the deputy president, which is good politics. But the irony of this is, when the president comes out and makes it clear that I have a direction I will give my people, the deputy president is the one who is angry. And even subliminal messages that are sent, he interprets them and responds like someone who is angered. And that tells you that a reinvigorated Jubilee, the reawakening of the Jubilee at the grassroots level, is likely to be the antidote for what the deputy president did in Mount Kenya region. And that is the anger that they will keep responding to. Okay. And from where I see it, I think if politics is going to play out the way we've seen in the past, every week I think he'll have something to be responding to, either from the president or anyone in the president's
Well, they're all responding to
But you see,
each other,
the question is, what
it.
the president says and what the deputy president says, they should be put in context. The president is saying as an outgoing president, he is not seeking any position. But when it comes out from someone who is looking for power to be the commander-in-chief of the Kenyan Armed Forces, there's a connotation that it has, that we need to be in safe hands. Okay. And I think the deputy president ought to be treading carefully in how he responds to President Uhuru Kenyatta, because chances are that is just to antagonize him.
I know you have something to say to that, but okay.
I find it very ridiculous that anybody can say when President Uhuru was saying Yangu Kumu was a vice president. I was there actually. Remember, I speak as a supporter of President Uhuru all these years together in the. So this trying to circumlocute and blabua over the meaning was, we'll do 10 years, then I'll support you for 10 years.
But pass over the baton.
Yes, I'll pass over the baton. Now, those who do not want the deputy president, convoluting the whole conversation does not. What my president is, and I still support President Uhuru to the last. I'll support him until August. But he himself is the one who walked away from his deputy. That is a fact. We must speak for our unborn grandchildren, so that when a new president comes, this kind of conduct we should not entrench in this country, where people are elected together. When you want a second term, you go with your colleague. Immediately you are elected, you turn. Now this has happened even in counties. People have had deputy governors. They go in together. Immediately somebody has been elected, the deputy governor is even denied a car. Some are locked out of offices. We know it in Kenya. This is the culture. Some of us are saying, for the sake of our unborn grandchildren, let us stop it. Here, the president himself is the one who walked away from his deputy. This is a fact. Even if we are praying, we say, God forgive us. This has happened, it is wrong. Even if Raila was to be president and he was to do the same to his deputy, we'll still tell him, Baba, this is wrong. Where we are going, anytime the president enters into the foray, remember when Moi entered in the foray and named Uhuru, he was thrown out of Uhuru Park in a very humiliating manner. Had it not been done, President Kibaki was a gentleman. President Moi would have ended very badly. Now, President Kibaki is a gentleman. I know he supported Uhuru, but in a very gentle, subtle way, allowed him to access state power, state funds, or things like that. But in a subtle way that even if he did win, he would have courage and the ability to support, to swear in the new president and walk away. But when you come in now like President Uhuru is coming, he is opening up himself to insults. He will be insulted. He will be reminded. He will be told things. I remember these people are comrades. They fought together. They fought together in Kanu. They fought together this time. And when the deputy president said, bring it on, there are people who know each other. And as were their supporters. Somebody who loves president, I would not want to see my president receiving such kind of pounding in the last days of his office. I would not. That's why I say, Your Excellency, support the side you want to support, but remain the president for all of us.
Does this race, and I think this is a question for both of you, does this race entirely depend on how President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy behave in the next 6 months? Is the stakes entirely with these two?
No. Every day that the president is approaching August, his powers diminish. All he will do is the side he supports will receive state power. I've always talked about the red card. So that if he is not supporting Ruto, anytime Ruto is running to score, there will be the referee raising the red card. And then there will be the silver and gold. The side he supports may access unusual silver and gold, but it does not mean that success will be guaranteed. Otherwise, when President Uhuru first reigned, President Moi, precious memories, would have put him in power. He didn't. 2007, President Kibaki himself was in office. He almost lost it. If it was not a abracadabra, he was out. So, as at now, Baba, who has been very formidable, is slowly being turned into a project, which is a term that is viewed negative, but on his own is strong. It can
That's why you ask, can you really call Baba a project, given his history in the politics
you become a project when you are supported by people powerful, especially the president. So it may be rightly or wrongly, but when you are now given that, this project you are pushing, then it reduces, it diminishes Baba's immense presence.
Okay.
Well, I don't think the race will entirely be about what the president and the deputy president will say or do. Because I think it's already clear the direction that the deputy president has taken, and it seems like the president has a party and the president has a candidate. So the race will be determined by how these two major political formations will carry out their campaign. And they have to start articulating issues right now. They have to balance between development and succession and winning the masses. But if I come back to what Weda said, that in 2002 Moi had state power and all that, and Uhuru was a project and Uhuru didn't make it, we need to put that in context. Who was Uhuru then? Very young man, very green in politics, he lost. But I think that is the only national contest the president ever lost. 2007, we know what happened. He was the game changer when he took Kanu to PNU and supported President Kibaki. They won. 2013, I mean, from someone who was having cases at The Hague, we saw what the president did. He turned everything around. He won an election. So if you talk about Moi and the baggage that Moi had, the one that he wanted to bestow on President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2002, I mean, everyone was rejecting Moi for what Moi had done. There was nothing substantive. So rejecting Uhuru back then was fairly easy. But today, we are talking about a president who has done something that all the other competitors acknowledge. And then number two, if you're talking about Raila as a state project, we're not talking about a Raila who can be equated to what Uhuru was in 2002. I mean, this is a guy who fought for multi-party democracy and fought for the devolution that we have today. So there's some stature that is coming with. And there are people who are saying outside there that if Raila is a project, then he's the people's project. And if it's a state project, then the state has realized that Raila is good for the nation. But that is not me. That is the perception that is outside there. But I don't think that in itself, the support from President Uhuru Kenyatta is supposed to help anyone, and anyone should not rest on their laurels thinking that this is enough.
Okay.
There's still a lot to be done.
All right, remember you are watching Checkpoint, and of course, if you have any thoughts on the conversation, we are digging deeper into what is happening between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy. The gloves seemingly off. It is no holds barred. So what are we likely to see in the next coming days? Throw in Raila Odinga, and clearly a preferred candidate for President Uhuru Kenyatta. What are we likely to see in the next, say, 6 months to the general polls? So, of course, at Akisa Wandera, at KTN News KE, the hashtag to use is a Checkpoint. And, of course, we'd love to hear what your thoughts about this and really what you expect to see in the coming days as we see President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto politically strip each other off publicly. So then it's interesting to see just how much stake is there for both of them in this particular race. What will it mean whichever way they go, whatever they say in this particular rallies, just what will it mean for this particular race? And of course, just a bit later on, we'll be looking at the nomination headache. Reality is just dawning on these coalitions and alliances that nominations will be a nightmare. We're already seeing jitters and concerns over. And of course, we are even seeing it, the cracks in Azimio after proposals that perhaps some areas, the nominations should be by way of consensus. And this is already being met by a lot of concern and a lot of jitters. So, of course, we'll be speaking about that shortly. Remember, my guest has been Owila, media and political communications expert, Ambrose Weda, lawyer and political analyst, and the new entrant. Thank you very much for making it, Gabriel Muthuma.
In the house.
In the house, finally.
Himself.
Really appreciate
Thank you,
it for
apologies,
you too.
Apologies for coming.
No worries, we understand. And of course, then let me bring it to you before we get to the next topic.
Please.
I hope you've been following the show as you're coming.
Oh, totally, yes.
So let's just speak it out from there. The president and his deputy, and the deputy saying, bring it on. But the president also seemingly very keen on this 6 months, perhaps to undo what the deputy president has done over the years of, especially this second term that he has been campaigning.
Well, politically, I think he wants to throw his weight into this campaign and be felt. Development-wise, I think it's what you call the wrap-up. He has to wrap up his development agenda. And I think what he has done, something that he mentioned while State House when he was meeting the 3,000 youths, he mentioned that he wanted to package his legacy and give it to someone. And I think, if all ducks are swimming in a row, he's packaging it to give it to Honorable Raila Odinga. So we have to wait and see how that will play out. But him jumping into politics at this time, he says, tulikuwa tunafanya kazi, au wengine walikuwa wanapiga siasa, sasa tumejitosa uwanjani.
But why now?
Well, I think you have to give it to him, because I don't think there would have been a time for him to campaign without affecting his development agenda. I mean, any sitting president, and we've seen this, we saw this with Kibaki, we've seen it also with Moi, even though former President Moi or the late President Moi knew how to balance the two. But where we are going, how the country has moved forward. Remember, this was a time when we had the COVID crisis. Before that, I mean, the economy was not performing. So I think you've had a president who had to put his weight in the game to be felt, and he knew if he started politicking earlier. And by the way, I mean, he was doing his second term. At that time, you just need to put your legacy together. You just need to put your development record together as you are exiting. So I don't think there was that time that allowed him to move around trying to do a lot of politicking. But still, in the field, you had the BBI, which again opened up. It was almost like another, more or less, a national campaign. They did well. It was received quite well through the county assemblies, and you saw that. But then again, we were told koti ilinulia handbrake. We have to wait and see whether it will come back, or through the judiciary. That's what everybody is eyeing. If it does, it will play a great role in our politics. The president, I think he weighed much on his development rather than politics. And that's why he's saying, sasa tumejitosa.
Muthuma, the biggest question right now is for the president to cement this legacy he continuously talks about. Should he have sat this one out?
Well, two things. First of all, world over, it is not listed in a black book that a president should just sit out. No. If it's your legacy you want, to precede you, you must leave it in quote unquote safe hands. We saw Barack Obama burning the midnight oil, skin in the game, campaigning for Hillary Clinton. Doesn't necessarily mean that you will win, but any self-respecting president will want his legacy to be in safe hands. And I believe, the way I'm saying it, it's, the president has chosen somebody. Many people thought it would be, that ticket that we were told, Kumia, that has not gone. It's politics.
Hezbollah has other ideas about what
politics.
That meant.
I mean, people will say it's politics, even though we talked about that last week. But that's where he feels his legacy will be safe. And we cannot blame him much, because at the end of the day, he also has a constitutional right. He can choose, even can tell Hezbollah, my good friend, Jitoso, I think my legacy will be safe. So we also must allow the president really to choose his preferred, somebody who he feels will drive his agenda. That one we can't blame him much. And I've seen so many people come out and really try and castigate the president. As much as he is the president of this country, he also has a constitutional right. Probably many people are saying optics-wise, does it augur well with a sitting president? Right. Many people may not think that to be the right way to do. Probably he would have done what Kibaki did.
Of course, does not
well, you know what? There are bills that he has supported which did not go into his favor, BBI being one of them. There was one where I think he had, there was a bill, I think, about the police where he had made changes and he had to, to go back to it. So I don't think we should look at it in those lenses. Okay. I know what you mean when you say Weda always agrees with me. I know what you mean. I know what you mean when you say an egg on the face. But on this one, there is that probably angulation where people are saying, how do you balance the two, Your Excellency, when we look at you as the symbol of national unity? And also you're campaigning for somebody who has been in the opposition for long. Those are some of the things I think that we'll have to decide as we move along. I know that's why.
Let me just say one thing. Those who are urging president to get into the field, Raila on this side, Ruto on this side, the game is on.
Yes.
And the son of Jomo, the son of Gena is in the middle. There are people who will kick his leg. And he can obtain a fracture. So the legacy he's talking about, it is going to be convoluted in the disagreement, in the verbal mayhem, in the insults, that by the time he's through, they are through with him. Remember the same time that you used to say, you see, these Kikuyus, sorry to say this, they betrayed Jaramogi. And many times they used to tell the deputy president, even you, they will betray you, they will disown you. Now they are saying exactly, and the president is playing into that. There are things that will go into legacy, that when the legacy was trying to preserve, it will take another 10 years to wash and clean. Remember, President Kibaki did a lot of good work. But because of the post-election violence, the election violence in 2007, anytime you say President Kibaki, violence. Just one thing. So that is where we are leading my president. And I feel very bad. He should have supported Baba in a subtle, proper way, the way Kibaki supported him. But going in and trading insults and allowing people to insult him back.
I understand what Weda is trying to say. On insult-wise, probably Weda, I understand where you're taking that point. Because again, it doesn't look really good when the president will be, and that's where I think it will go. He'll be treated. He'll be treated like another politician. Probably that's what he's talking about. And I would like to see it as well, because the environment or the stage that you're going in is actually very murky. It's politics. It's Kenyan politics. Somebody will say something to you very nasty, and they will not remember that you are actually an acting president. So I understand what Weda is saying, but also on the other spectrum, as much as we give credence to the fact that he is the head of state and also the symbol of national unity, it is actually a very thin line moving to where he's moving. Right. Now, I can understand very quickly on where it angled in with the handshake. It was just the handshake. It had nothing to do with 2022. But I think it has come full circle. People are saying, wow, the likes of Weda will question that.
Give you under a minute to have the last word on this so we can talk about the nominations and the jitters.
I think on this, I agree with Weda that, you know, for a president to get himself into a contest that is pitting two candidates when he's a retiring president is a big risk. But I want to believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta is in a better place to look at the picture from a panoramic point of view and assess, am I getting into something that will be damaging or not? And it's also important to put it within context that he's not getting in to support Raila or support the deputy president. Neither is he getting in to oppose any of them. I think the president is critically getting in because of the legacy 3 that he has instituted. And he's getting in as someone who wants a continuation of that. And therefore, even if people came in and attacked the president, there are Kenyans who will sit down and ask themselves, this legacy 3 that you're talking about, fighting corruption, does it help Kenyans? Yes. Number 2, the big 4 agenda that the president instituted in 2018, is it something that benefits Kenyans? Yes. And then number 3, uniting Kenyans. Is it something that Kenyans will celebrate going forward? And that is the basis upon which the president is safely getting into this contest.
How does that unity work when he's picking sides?
No, you see, the question is, he's picking which sides? He has picked Raila or the deputy president. You know, from where many people sit, the deputy president chose his own path. Way before even the BBI. When the deputy president and his team, led by Adan Duale, made it clear that from today, what we are going to do is ensure that the deputy president, William Ruto, becomes the president, which is what any meaningful politician would do, that you would want self-determination and move to the next level. So whether that will work for them is a question of what will happen on 9th of August. We can't tell that the president is wrong at this point, because no one has made that determination, whether they are going with Raila, the president. We don't even know whether the president's candidate is Raila. It's only that we're reading the signs.
Oh, trust. We can see that.
That one is quite evident. The people who are supporting the president.
He is supporting Azimio. Has he mentioned Raila anywhere?
Come on.
Yes. You see. Let me tell you. This is something that Jubilee and the president cannot do without an NDC, and I think that is in the law. There is no one in any political party who can make a decision. Whatever decision they've made has to be endorsed by NDC.
Don't we know that NDCs are majorly to rubber stamp and already?
Wait. We know because we've been in this space. But we cannot speculate. We have to wait until it is confirmed.
So from where you sit, my last question, you do not know who the president is supporting. You're telling your viewers tonight that it is not clear who the president is.
I'm actually telling my viewers tonight that the direction the president has given will be endorsed on 26th.
Let me just say something.
Okay,
brother, anytime we are doing a program in English, it means those who are listening are very intelligent.
Exactly.
They're not. So by now we are talking about 2-horse race, Raila or Ruto. And the president has made it clear by action and words that he wants Honorable Raila to succeed. So telling our viewers...
But you see, that is not in doubt.
Let me just finish. Telling our viewers blah, 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 blah. And those of us who love President Uhuru, that's what we say, Your Excellency, it is good to support somebody. But support that somebody the way Mheshimiwa Kibaki supported you. Going into it, bare knuckle, the way you are suggesting, they are going to tell you that even the legacy you are talking about is not there, because you will be talking about Gorofa roads. But the Kenyans are telling you that a packet of Omo is now 400. They can't afford. People are living sleeping hungry. Some people cannot afford rents. And that's why we are talking about bottom up. So don't go there. Just support the people you want and allow them.
The last one is on this.
I totally agree with Weda 150%, not only in words and deeds.
Impressive.
Yeah, of course, totally. Now, with this one we agree. I think the president has made it clear which side he's supporting. And again, I mean, to my good friend, husband, we should not act as if we want to punish the president for making a choice. The president has a constitutional right, just like me and you, Akisa. He has said, this is my choice. We will, we need to respect it or disrespect it. But he has made a choice. This is where I want to go.
Let's talk about the state of the race. Looks like we'll talk about all these things under the state of the race. The nomination jitters, we are looking at the coalition forming, alliances forming. But the reality is dawning that nominations is going to be a nightmare for especially these coalition tickets. We're already seeing that happening in Azimio. How do they navigate that? I'll start with you, Weda.
Thank you. I think the best approach is the coalition way, where you have several parties, and if you are disgruntled in this party, you can still run on another party, but under the same banner, Azimio or Kenya. This one bus where it is one party, you are either in or out. There are people who are closer to the owners of the party. These parties are owned by people because they bankroll them, they have there. So there are people who are owned, who owns those parties, and there are people who are close, who have been there. You will not get a ticket against them. Therefore, when such disgruntled candidates leave, some of their supporters get disgruntled and eventually don't vote. So it leads to losses of votes. I think the best would be to have quite a number of parties, like Azimio, there is ODM, and then there's DAP, there could be another one, so that if you think whatever, you can run, but you allow the presidential vote to go to your president. But where you have just one behemoth owned by the big guys, and then they hate you, or they think you are not loyal, or you are a new defector, or you are a traitor, it becomes a problem. The consensus they are talking about in Azimio, obviously I can give you some examples. If, for instance, let's take, for instance, Homa Bay. If they are going to do governor consensus, and you put Lady Wanga, and let's say Kidero, or the Magwanga, or Mbadi, you see it, that the lady is closer home. She's closer within the echelons. Chances that you'll be told, support her, are very high. Do you understand that? Now, Kidero will be told, Nairobi. Homa Bay is not Nairobi. So that consensus will have a problem from the word go. And then Kidero supporters, Magwanga supporters will feel disgruntled. That is why I think, as a somebody,
they will likely stage walkouts.
And you see, when you walk out, some of their supporters now will not vote. So that is why you say you run on DAP, you run on ODM, all of you are running for Honorable Raila, and you vote for him, and you can vote yourself. Whoever wins is one of us. Even the deputy president tried to say it is UDA. Eventually, people like Kuri are saying, Abana, we have been there before, we were in Kanu, we know it, we're not going to allow you to
You know the
do
poster
that.
they're going to do.
Yes. Otherwise, there are people who will be told, this one, who you are Ingi, who you are Ingia.
I'll bet the fact that Weda has a point. He's really tried to sugarcoat it. Have you noticed, Akisa? He's really tried to sugarcoat it. The truth of the matter, Akisa, is I do not know any party or coalition in Kenya today that can claim immunity from the tribulations that come with nominations. It's a headache for parties, it's a headache for coalitions, and it is going to be a headache, in this one. But one thing I can tell you for sure is we've already started seeing, like he's saying, the top echelons have really identified the people who they feel, this one. Like in Nairobi, somebody has already, I had Honorable Baba calling somebody Governor Mtarajiwa, and behind him there is another person who is really fighting. Yeah. In fact, two that I know who are really fighting to get the party ticket. So how do you play around that? And don't take away what you've said, Akisa, because it will happen. The walkouts. Maybe many. That's why I think there's a guy there called Kalonzo with his coalition. They probably may be waiting to see how many people walk out. Don't count it off. And I know Weda will be laughing, but the point that we should make tonight is it is actually very common for these issues to arise. Whether you're looking at it, democratically or through acclamation, whichever way you choose, there's going to be issues. There'll be complaints. There'll be walkouts. So that has to be expected. Okay. It will also mean if you're going to have a scenario like what Weda is saying, the consensus bit, You really must know how to manage, and this is something many people have not been able to do. You really must know how to manage the walkouts. You saw what happened in Jubilee in 2017. The current deputy president had to actually go and stay in Jubilee, spend the nights there to ensure that their nomination was. So there has been accusation back and forth. I do not know how that will affect the bigger parties, the mother parties. For instance, when you look at Azimio, ODM is the mother party. You have to give them that. At one point, ODM was the largest party. So they will actually come and talk about joint nominations. I don't think they'll go for that. You cannot come and just decrease their numerical strength, which they believe they have. And to an extent, I think they do have. Yeah. They want to know their numerical strength in the next parliament and Senate. So apart from what we are talking about, there's going to be serious infightings within these coalitions.
How do you see this? How do you see these coalitions survive post nomination? From what the two analysts are saying and what Muduma is saying, it's going to be a headache.
Well, of course, it's going to be a headache, and I don't think there's any coalition that will come out of the nomination unscathed. There has to be, some rank and acrimony.
How do you manage?
So I think there are conversations already going on how to manage, especially at the coalition level. Because at the party level, even without coalitions, it's always happening. Yeah. Like what Weda is saying in Homa Bay, that will happen in Homa Bay, whether there is a Azimio or not. Those guys will all fight for ODM. The ones who will lose will look for other alternative political parties.
Rift Valley, everyone wants to run.
It's the same thing in Rift Valley, and I think where political parties are strong, they'll experience, those infightings, friendly fire. But at the end of the day, what the coalition does is that the coalition gives an opportunity for you to fight, but still support one presidential candidate. And I think most of the coalitions will try and do that, like Kenya Kwanza. I think Azimio will also do that. But I think there is another level of conversation so that at those cosmopolitan areas where the popularity is not outright, like you compare Nairobi and Migori, they're totally different, So in a county like Nairobi, for instance, I think there's going to be a model of what NAC used in 2002. NAC was a political party that brought people from NAK and the Rainbow Alliance to form NAC. And, politicians who were solid back then were very clear that I want a nomination. I want to beat other competitors to get the NAC ticket. And I remember the late Joseph Kamoto was very categorical in Mathioya that, no, I know I'm a luminary in Rainbow Alliance, but now this is NAC. So someone came from NAK, I'm coming from Rainbow Alliance. Let us meet, and whoever wins gets a ticket. And I think that's the model that probably would save them from losing to other coalitions in these cosmopolitan centers. But at the end of the day, they have to work out a model that would accommodate losers within the coalition without rocking the boat from within. That is the most difficult thing, and I think all political parties, what they are sold, should be working around how to deal with such areas. One thing I know is that the Constitution and the political parties, Act, the one that was passed in 2021, is very clear on a few things. But the most critical one is the fact that I think what most political parties would try and avoid is what the Act has defined as indirect nomination. It's actually the opposite of what people mean, because direct nomination is the one that goes through universal suffrage. I think to deal with the acrimony and anything that may come out, the safest bet is to take people through direct nomination. This idea of indirect, where we have consensus, people see it, there are interviews, that one can only breed more chaos. And I think political parties need to start working, because the law is also very clear that you can only have nomination by registered members in your political party. That list has to be certified by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. It has to go to IBC. So the earlier they start putting these frameworks in place to ensure that all the candidates who are looking for tickets in those political parties have clarity on how the process is transparent would help these parties.
All right. But looking at, because this week we've seen conversations, stories done in the media, cracks in Azimio over the nomination process that's upcoming in April, proposals over consensus. Are you seeing a situation where these coalitions would start crumbling even before they are properly formed because of these internal issues they're dealing with.
No. This, the coalitions will be very strong. They will grow strong. Remember that those who are heading these coalitions have been through this before. They have been through these nominations. They have been through these coalitions. They have been through this disgruntlement. They have been all over. For now, the registered list of party members are with Safaricom and the other one, those who give money, because that's the list. Yeah, I know you could find yourself registered in some party, just check. So they went and collected names from Safaricom and these other service providers.
Yeah,
so unless they ask the Safaricom people and the Airtel people to conduct nominations for them, then they don't have lists of members. Awana, they don't have. Somehow they will do a dabra-kadabra. Some nominations will be done. And some people will come with the bags. Some will come with the pail and say we have done nominations, and then the party will ratify. So I can say we were contesting with this one, my brother Muduma, and then I take charge. And once I take charge, I say I've won. When you take it to the party headquarters and they recognize me, then they tell him to go to court. They go to the political parties, whatever. Yeah. There again, since he doesn't have evidence, we don't have some, he will be told. So they will weather these storms because
they have been there.
They have been there before. Raila has been there before. Hondo Bruto has been there before. Kalonzo has been there before. They'll weather them, and after a short while, Baba always says that, he says in French, Idiang Duong. So
translate that.
So people say,
translate that to our viewers.
That French, you know, a cow. When a cow is slaughtered, inside there's liver, there's kidneys, there's the doctrine, there's all those things. Then we have the ram steak, all the steaks. So you will always tell this guy, the cow is big, don't worry. No. And then we always console ourselves that even mukia, so some people will be told, hold on.
No, I guess
and then they hold on and wait.
You see the confusion. The confusion I was telling you. Is where they is trying to go. Now, there's one place I think he's gotten it right, and also has got it also quite right. With these big parties within coalitions, I think they will really push to get their mark, because you cannot, no party that I know, including ODM, no party really wants to lose their numerical strength in Parliament. I don't know about Jubilee, but really they have to go back to the drawing boards if they want to at least have some of the numbers that they had, in the last election. Having said that, I think for them to push those numbers, what must happen is they must agree in some way, mainly in urban areas, in urban counties. And how do you do that is what we saw, and we've seen it in the past. If you are doing joint nominations, you can either do joint nominations, which is going to be problematic, or you can agree. If we are fielding a candidate, let's say Embakasi East, you will not field a candidate, all right? It will be this part of Azimio. And then they'll go, and they have to agree on that. If it's a place like a constituency like Mathare, they'll say ODM will field a candidate. Jubilee cannot field a candidate. They'll have, you see, within the coalition. But that is...
What happens to the other smaller parties within these coalitions? What's their space?
Look at it this way, and that's why I'm telling you it will create some confusion. Look at it this way. ODM has several seats, in fact, in Nairobi. I think, if I'm not wrong, about 11 or so. I'm not sure. Who would they give that out to? You think they will just lie down and say, okay, just because we're in a... No. It won't be that. No party wants to lose. Take this. This is the line. No party wants to lose their numerical strength in Parliament and probably the Senate. And that's why you will see what we were agreeing with has. There has to be a very good management after the fact, because that would really signify whether people walk out or they remain. We saw the last time something which kept happening. Immediately, NASA agreed that they were going to, put Honorable Raila as their candidate. ODM, there was no NASA on on the ballot box. It was the party. It was each party. So are they going to do that this time around? And why did they go with a coalition like Jubilee did? Because that in itself, when Jubilee went as a giant coalition, look at what they almost had near a super majority in both houses. So that was actually a great genius move that Jubilee did.
We like to see Azimio go down.
It may not, because there's a lot of mistrust within those parties.
Understandably so.
Yes, because I don't know what will bring them together on that, because on one area you're looking at, we have so many numbers in parliament, how are we going to give this up? So that actually poses as a problem, and that's why I'm telling you, the leaders, these party leaders, the ones that had, Weda is calling the head honchos, the big kahunas. I actually liked something I had one of the leading lights saying, and I think it was Honorable William, who said, kupigwa picha na mimi does not mean you get the nomination.
The nomination.
Because that is something else politicians will use. I am close. What Weda is saying in Homa Bay and things like those. If you go by that line, people will be, why should I? Why should I? And right then, you will already have created another lacuna.
Okay, I'll let you have.
I think for me, and what I think Azimio really aims for is to put as many people together under one corporate coalition as a political party, simply for the purposes of dealing with what they saw in this parliament that is coming to an end. That you bind people together because you have an agenda. And if you tie them together and you have a common cause, which they can work at this point, then it becomes fairly easy after the election. But what Weda said is very real. At some point, they will have to come back to the basics, that the government is extremely big. We have to do a negotiated democracy and send the people who are going to seek the votes. If they get the votes, they will get the elected. The ones that you are negotiating with will find positions for you. That is real, and they have to think about that.
All right, let's look at the state of the race as we finish up on the last minutes of the show. Weda, let's begin with you. It's been quite a week. We've seen Kenya Kwanza do quite some forays in the country. They've done Western. They were in Baringo today. Azimio has been on Azimio Mashinani, I think, and we've seen the women movement launch. But Baba has been away, so I don't know how that looked like for you.
I think I have always said that one of the biggest problems Baba was going to face is the fact that the body is becoming weaker, and this is the time why he needed people like Mudavadi, people like Kalonzo. And I still say that he needs to persuade Kalonzo as quickly as possible to join him, so that even in his absence, he can help lead the onslaught. These are the characters that they are sending all over. They are jokers. How do you send, God forbid, somebody like Babu Owino to go to Busia and tell people how they'll make a good government and so on and so forth? With the track record that he has. How do you send my good friend and brother, Junaid Mohammed, as the luminary? Our government will be there. When Baba is not there, when the captain is away, you look at 202, when Kibaki was away. Baba was there, Moody Wood was there, Kalonzo was there, Orengo was there, Nyang was there, Ngelu was there. Now he has downgraded it to some characters, some jokers. Sorry to call them that, not that I disrespect them. But I'm saying in terms of the caliber that was there. So, and this is because Baba also, let me use a stronger word, he went on a castration mission. In Luland, every senior politician is under the team, fearing. The other day, even Otienda Molo tried just to raise his head. Ali Twangwa he's gone back under the bed. People like Orengo are now back in the village seeking to go and collect taxes from local markets.
Just if I'm getting it right for the sake of our audience, are we saying that without Baba, Azimio is chaotic?
No, we are saying that Azimio is not measuring to the other competitors, where now you have the deputy president. He is there parroting, propagandering, doing all these things in person, supported by his earthquakeness Sir Musalia Mudavadi. Now, those are people now when they are there in this rally. Then the next day, there's another rally where the leader, Babu Owila, followed by Junet Mohamed, and all this. Even people like Oparanya are disappearing instead of leading the Oslo. So we are saying it is not matched. He needs to prop up. He needs to recall people like Orengo from the village where they want to go and collect taxes from markets to come and fight for him when he's away so that when he comes back, he finds a strong team. Otherwise, looking at it, the propaganda coming from Kenya Kwanza, the machinery, the people, Baba needs to call in Kalonzo. And Kalonzo needs to fold this game quickly so that he joins this side.
He has said it's all the way to the ballot.
No, people can talk, people can negotiate, people can say, Bwana Kalonzo, come, 30% of government is yours. Sir Dr. Gideon, come, 20% of this government is yours. Come quickly so that, because we have only 4 months of serious campaign. The captain needs to come. Because of his state now, he cannot do 10 markets in a day. He will do the final one. But these other people can run. So they need to be
formidable.
There. Now when they are not there, people, I'm still appealing. Orengo, atoke huku nyumbani, akuje asaidia.
But he has his own personal ambitions.
You see, what he's looking for, Baba can say in a minute. He doesn't need to campaign. Baba can easily say, Governor Siaya is His Excellency Orengo. Nani anapinga, and there's nobody who said napinga. So you should not be worried there. When Baba is away, they need to come. But now they have also hidden. They have left this thing for some. I see some ladies also coming up.
They are doing well. We are seeing Gladys Wanga. She's doing well on the campaign.
So you think she's matching Mudavadi? You think she's matching the caliber of the deputy president? We are talking about high-octane politics. We are not talking about ability to stand in front of people and talk.
Okay, let's get to our closing remarks. As you comment on that, the state of the race, what does it look like? What are we likely to see this coming week?
Well, very quickly, I think we'll continue seeing the high tone, in fact, the heavy ones now are starting to come out. But there's something quite pertinent that Weda has said. When you have a rally and Baba is not there, always, I mean, obviously, it will not have that high level energy that Baba brings into his campaign trail. And that is expected. Again, that one we cannot judge him harshly because, you know, there are other things that he's doing. I mean, he's mentioned about his health. So we cannot compare the energy levels between Baba and Honorable William Ruto. So that's a given. But coming into the strategy, I think it is a good strategy where he's employed that even though he's not there, there are people who are going around. Their caliber in terms of politics may not be there yet, but at least they are doing something.
Okay.
You cannot match, again, what Sir William is doing and his brigade, you know, with the campaigns when Baba is not there. Having said that, I think I'll end up by saying we saw something that happened in Maimahio. I think we needed to be very, very considerate, mainly when we are dealing with hazardous materials. I don't think it's something that, you know, should be happening again. We saw the Sanchangwan. We've been talking about this issue back to back. And I'm glad at least I've not had, probably you people have had, I've not had whether we lost any souls. I hope we didn't. Just the injuries and the vehicles. The vehicles we can purchase. There's no problem about that. But I think, Akisa, we need to upskill that game on just ensuring the people who are carrying hazardous material are well trained.
Under 1 minute, we need to wrap up.
1 minute
State of the race, what are we likely to see?
I think I agree with Weda that even in Baba's absence, we need to see the campaign move around. And of course, credit to Azimio and what they've done, because we've seen a big step in that direction, that even in the absence of Baba, we've seen people talk about Azimio, and it's been in the public domain for quite some time. It cannot compete the deputy president and Kenya Kwanza. But we also need to put that in context, that when the deputy president is not there, even Mudavadi and Wetangula are moving nowhere. We've not seen them do that. And I think if they keep doing what they are doing, all the principles together, they'll be weighed down by these jokers that Weda is saying. Because if jokers can go all over the place, and these guys can only do so much, it will be a lot more difficult for them. Okay. But lastly, for both parties, and I think I mentioned this last week, it is not so much a question of the audience that they are talking to outside there. What comes back on TV is what people who are composed and analytical are looking at. And they need to start tailoring their messaging in such a way that they don't just speak to the excited crowd, but they speak to issues. I have no problem with Junet or Babu or we not talking, but I have a problem if they have a galaxy of like 3 rallies and none of them talks about the 10-point agenda that Raila unveiled at the Azimio. So if the moment they start speaking about that, I think we'll talk about substantive content.
Way to end it. 10 seconds, Weda.
I'm an old boy of Kisumu Boys High School. As an old boy, the school itself has lost the principal, Mr. Peter Obongo. He's a great, we have our candidates, we have the parents. I pass my condolences. It's my school, and we know they're in a tough time, but God will see them through.
It's not your last show, is it?
That's how we wrap it up here on Checkpoint. Muduma is trying to box me. No, it's not. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. Joining us here is Hesbon Owila, who's a media and political communication expert. Thank you very much for joining us. Ambrose Weda is a lawyer and political analyst. Really always a pleasure to have you here. And Gabriel Muduma, thank you for really running and making it here on time. Political analyst and governance expert.
See the bishop. He's been away for 2 weeks. We've missed you.
That's how we wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining us here on Checkpoint. I'll be seeing you tomorrow night on Kivumbi 2022. I am Akisa Wandera. Have a good night.
What is particularly exciting about this event is that it's a golf event that showcases the talents of women, not only in Kenya but across the globe. So Johnny Walker and KBL partnering to showcase women's sports, that women are capable, that women can do it, that women can deliver, not only in sports,